I am the LA probate expert, and this is our first in a series home buying seminar. We do this Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and everything in between. And where we get together and try to help, particularly first time, but anybody who wants to buy a home, get in the process of it and try to demystify it and simplify it and help you be successful in the process. So who am I and who are we? I'm a real estate broker in Los Angeles, California. I lead a national team of real estate professionals. I help real estate agents and investors increase their income and build wealth. And part of my team is Patricia Castillo. She's a real estate agent based in Downey, California. Say hi, Patricia.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today.
También ella habla español. I speak a little bit, but she really speaks Spanish. How's that, Patricia? Pretty good?
That's cool.
Yep, I would say you're passing.
Thank you. Also, partner we have on the call, Charlotte and Ronan, who are the credit repair 90210, and they help people who need to improve their credit score to get a better deal. Do that. So say hi, Charlotte and Ronan, if you're there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on this almost rainy day in California.
So, and we do this, the goal here really is to kind of give back to people looking to start the process. Typically, people, when they buy a house, on average, from when they actually start to actually buy their first property, it's about 2 years. And so a lot of business professionals don't want to get involved in the process of really helping people over that long period of time, because we as professionals don't get paid until you close. So we're doing this, I think, as a service to help people increase home ownership, help people build wealth. Obviously, we're in the business of selling houses and credit repair and other things as well. And so we wanted to offer this program. We're going to do it every week. And our goal is going to be to each week cover one of the major topics of the process, and then also to offer individual coaching support, and then create some networking where you can meet both vendors who can help you and other people on the same path as you to help you along the way. Now, we're going to run this live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, as well as live stream it on YouTube and Facebook. So if you miss one of the calls, you can go on to the social media of your choice and see the replay there. And you can find my social media as Bill Gross EXP, which is my company, Bill Gross EXP. And you can find me on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, and you'll find all those items there. So today, one of the topics, and feel free, let me add one more piece. The goal of this is to be interactive. What I've learned is there's a lot of webinars where people just play a video, it goes on and on and on. Not interesting, hard to learn when you're not really taken seriously and you have a question that you can't get answered. So we're here live, even though I'm a broker and I sell a lot of houses. And I don't normally work with home buyers, to be honest. I usually refer out people on my team. We're doing this because we want to help, but to help you, you need to participate. So I'm going to offer you the opportunity to, if you have a question, unmute yourself, ask a question, or if you're on the Zoom call, raise your hand, or if you're in the Zoom call, put a question in the chat box. We'll make a priority of answering any questions. Now, if you're watching this on the other social media as I stream, YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, put the questions there, and most of the time they'll get to me, and I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Though the best bet is YouTube for sure I see. Facebook I see typically. LinkedIn is kind of weird on getting comments. So love to have you participate and learn how you can get the goal you want rather than just watch other people participate in the process. So if we go any further, any questions about what we're doing or why we're doing it? No? Patricia, you want to say something real quick? Just introduce yourself and talk about why you're here.
Yeah, so my name is Patricia Castillo and I'm with eXp Realty. I am a realtor serving Southern California. I live in Downey and primarily work in this area, as well as Los Angeles County and Orange County. And, you know, I love this call, Bill, because I do feel like a lot of people they want to buy a home. They want to create that sustainability within their budget and create that new home space for their family, but they just don't know where to start. And so lately I've been getting a lot of questions. Just where do I start? What's the process like? How long might it take? And is it even achievable for me? And so I feel like in this space, we can create that platform for buyers and even sellers, because sellers may have lived in a home for 20 years now, and the process of buying a home back then is much different than it is today. So this is a great space for someone that's looking to probably sell their home and then maybe you're upgrading or downsizing, and so you are eventually going to be a buyer yourself. So this is a great space to be in, participate and get that information. And I'm a realtor as well, as I mentioned. So if you have any questions, I'm available for questions as well.
And just to add, both Patricia and I are both in Southern California, but we're part of a national company. We literally have colleagues and partners all across the country. So if you're interested in buying in other areas as an investor or a home buyer, we're more than glad to help you with that process. Ask for some reductions, and we can get the right people to help you. Charlotte and Ronan, do you guys want to introduce yourself real quick and talk about what you do and share with the group a little bit?
Sure. My name is Charlotte Johnson. My partner is Ronan David Segal, and we are partners in a company called Credit Repair 90210. And what we do is we help people qualify for homes. So many people, want to buy a home. They might even have the down payment, but they don't have the credit for that. And so we work with them. We actually go over their credit reports, see what negative items might be there, what unverifiable items or obsolete items are there. And then we have an entire company that works to have those negative items deleted and get your score up so that you can qualify for a home. And besides working at restoring credit, we also work at building credit. And for people who might be renting, we have a product where people can get credit for their rent, which literally has popped people's scores double to triple digits in a very short period of time. So we work with people in any way that they need it in order to get their credit up to qualify for a home.
And I think that's really a conversation with you guys is what kind of prompted this, because having been in this business a long time, I know that it takes people sometimes months of preparation to get to where the credit gets improved. We don't want them not to do it. We want them to start. So we want to create an environment where they can get started, learn the process. And so once the credit's ready to go, they can then finish up and get the property they're looking for. So thank you for helping us make this happen today, Charlotte and Ronan.
Thank you for inviting me. It's fabulous. Yeah. Helping
Great.
people.
So I want to share a little bit today about the benefits of homeownership, because at the end of the day, in transformation, you're going to find 90% of what it's going to take to change is going to be mental. And if you get clear on why you want to be a homeowner, if you focus on that goal, and I can tell you, when I was first married, my wife and I focused 100% on buying our first house. We lived in an area in LA County called Diamond Bar, California. It was a nice suburb. It had been called Pomona. They broke off a piece, made it sound fancy, Diamond Bar, after the Diamond Bar Ranch. And Diamond Bar at the time had the largest equestrian facility west of Mississippi. It had a gated community with huge homes, including Snoop Dogg lived there, and a couple Dodgers and Angels and Kings lived in this community. And it was well known for these huge horse properties. And people would say to us all the time, "Oh, wow, you guys have a Diamond Bar. There's beautiful homes there." And my wife and I'd say, "Yeah, there's beautiful homes there. We don't live in any of them," because we lived in the cheapest apartment we could afford. We had next to no furniture because we saved all of our money to buy our first house. And within our first year of marriage, we bought our first house. It was a starter home. It was a small 3-bedroom in a neighborhood of 4 bedrooms. It was a small house on a street with views that didn't have a view. And I remember we bought it for $142,000. And a year later, we sold it for $242,000 and bought a bigger house, bought a much nicer home. And so this graphic I'm going to show you shows the advantages of home ownership. And this is really the reason why, and you need to think about yourself, why is it important to you to own a house? And there's really 6 major reasons. Happiness, the feeling of owning your own house, the feeling of sitting in your backyard and barbecuing, even on a small barbecue when you get started, just the feeling of owning it yourself. The house we bought, the first one had a little hot tub, a little above ground hot tub. There was nothing better than sitting there and grilling a hot dog, sitting in the hot tub with a beer at the end of a long day, I have to tell you. But what's your happiness? And you have to decide for yourself what that is. Maybe it's having your kids play. Maybe it's having a yard for your dog. But you need to get clear on what that is and think of it like a fire. It starts slow, and then you turn up the heat so that it gets more and more powerful. And that's the heat that's going to drive you to do what you need to do in order to buy the property. Second is tax savings. One of the things you're going to learn is you can write off portions of the home, that the tax code is written to advantage homeowners. Now, you can say it's unfair, and I'm not here to say if it's fair or not. I'm here to say if that's the law, play by the rules to your advantage. And one way to do that, to build wealth over time, is real estate. One reason is because you don't get taxed until you sell the property. So you can buy it today. There are people, my neighbors bought their house for $30,000. They live next door to me. And a small, modest house is worth $1.5 million. And they haven't paid any taxes on all that money. Now, they will pay some taxes perhaps when they sell the property, but they haven't paid one penny in taxes all that time. Whereas stocks and bonds, you might have to pay as you sell them and buy them along the way. Third is appreciation. Real estate tends to, over time, go up. And on average, over time, 2 to 3% per year. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot when you compare it to maybe stocks or bonds at 7 or 8%. But you consider that you can leverage real estate by borrowing money and putting down 5%. Now your investment is appreciating at 20 times faster. And so you can see that a modest investment in real estate leveraged up can appreciate into savings pretty quickly. Equity, because one way to build wealth is building equity in property. You can buy a property at the right price and walk into equity. You can improve a property and create equity, and over time, the appreciation creates equity. Roots, obviously, owning a home in a neighborhood gives you deeper roots, whether you want to participate in the community, schools, or whatever it is with family, friends. That's an advantage for you to participate and enjoy. And then lastly is education. We find that kids who grow up in homes where it's owned learn more and are more focused on financial success in school than kids who grow up in rental apartments, just because the nature of deeper roots and success in the family will translate to the next generation. Rafiq, you're unmuted. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Unmute yourself if you have any questions. Anybody on the call, if you have questions, unmute yourself or raise your hand. Be glad to answer questions.
Bill, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Charlotte. I know you said there were tax savings and they don't have to pay, taxes, but they do have to pay their annual real estate taxes.
Absolutely.
Right.
There are taxes that are due. When you sell property, there's different types of taxes: city, county taxes, state and federal, and then annually you have property tax. Now, one benefit of home ownership is where rent might be raised every year, unless there's rent control. Property tax is limited on how much it can go up. So literally in my neighborhood, the neighbors next door, they bought a house for $30,000. They're paying property taxes that are maybe 1/5 to 1/10 as much as the person who bought the house 2 doors down from them. So yes, they do pay property tax. In some states, it's more expensive. California property tax is expensive initially, but tends to stay down lower over time. But you're absolutely right. There are property taxes that would be due for sure.
Thank you.
Good. So those are the 6, again, just to cover real quick, the 6 reasons why. And this is from the book, the classic book on self-improvement, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, where he says that in order to make a change, you want to get the desire burning like a fire, and you want to stoke it till it's a raging flame. So I'd urge you that if you really want to buy a house, it's important to you, make sure you understand which of these 6 or all of them are important to you. Think about them, make them real for you. Bring some emotion to it, because the more real it is, the more likely you are to achieve the goal. That's true in anything in life, but it's also true particularly in money and in finances. Okay, so I wanted to talk, I want to give you an overview today. We're going to move on to what are the 6 topics that the 7 topics that we're going to talk about over the next few weeks. Each week, we're going to start off with one of these topics. So one is buying a house for you. We're going to talk about that next week. Are you ready to buy a house? Is it important to you? Why do you want to buy a house? Do you fit in the profile of somebody that should be doing that? We'll talk about the mindset, and that I went over briefly. Second, we're going to talk about home prices and inventory, how to evaluate a market. The idea being that you should be comfortable where you're going to buy, be knowledgeable. In many cases, you can be as knowledgeable as some real estate agents with some basic direction as to what you should be looking for. Third is how you can take advantage of the market. In some regards, business is a game, and you want to learn how to play the game. What rules are to your advantage and what rules are against you, and try to avoid those. So we're going to teach you a little bit on this call each week with different professionals on how to play the game and make the rules work for you instead of against you. Fourth is the process. It turns out Patricia, in addition to being a real estate agent, was an escrow officer. Or in some states, we would call that a real estate attorney. She wasn't an attorney, but she managed that job of being the third-party intermediary between the buyer and the seller, trading the money for the property and all the paperwork that goes along with that. So we're going to talk about the real estate process. Fifth is home financing. It's fascinating. I started the business as a lender, and there is no business that's had a better run over the last 20 years than lenders, or maybe the last 14 years, since the great crash 2008-9, where they really bankrupted our country. The banks really rewrote the rules, and interest rates have come straight down ever since. And so most lenders have made a great living just taking the same customers over and over and over again, because the government has artificially lowered the interest rates to their benefit. At some point that stops, but I can tell you as a real estate agent, it's shocking how hard it is to get lenders to do their job, to support their customers properly, to help prepare them, to help them through the process. So we're going to talk about that, what you really need from a lender. It's great to have somebody you like, friend of a friend of your realtor, but you really need somebody who's going to be your partner in the process to help you get the job done. Number 6 is credit. You have the credit that's needed. Now we're going to talk along the way, and I know that Ronan and Shaw are going to reach out to you if you're interested in getting started ahead of time to work on that. But one of the things is going to definitely be, do you have the credit in place, or by raising your credit score, can you get better financing? And then the last topic we're going to talk about is your roadmap. What's the process look like? Once we have those 6 pieces of the puzzle put together, what's the overall process look like? Now, you can start at any point. We're going to repeat these topics every week. But the idea is that if you understood those 7 topics, you're more prepared than half the realtors in my experience. You're prepared to go out and buy a property and execute a plan to end up getting you the house that you're looking for to achieve your goals. So that's our game plan. Is we're going to cover one of those topics each week for the next 7 weeks. We're going to record these calls every week. But the goal is for you to bring questions, bring your challenges, bring maybe past problems you've had together, so we can work on them together and maybe even meet each other along the way. Because one thing about real estate is it's a team game. More than any other industry, in my experience, you really have to work with other people. I'm a real estate broker. Almost every house I sell, there's a buyer's agent, there's an escrow officer, there's a title representative, there's a lender, or there's multiple of all those people. There's a credit repair person who I don't even meet because they did their job months ago. And so you as an agent, or you as a buyer, need to learn how to work with other people to be effective in your business. Okay, I did a lot of talking today. Who has something they want to add or a question? Anybody? Was this interesting, helpful?
Hi, Bill. I was just going to add that, I think because this happened to me personally when I was buying my first home, I had envisioned so many things that I wanted in my home. And the reality is, when it comes down to it, you need to find out exactly what you qualify for. And so that will change possibly what you have envisioned in your home. You may end up with a 2-bedroom, 2-bath instead of a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. And so I think it's just learning what you qualify for financially. And even if you are comfortable paying, let's say, a mortgage payment of, $2,000 a month or $2,500 a month, you may qualify for more, but you may not want to pay more. You may qualify for a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, but knowing your budget, you may feel more comfortable just capping out at a $2,500 a month mortgage payment. So I think it's also important to look at what you're comfortable paying every month versus what you qualify for.
That's a great point.
Yeah, because that'll impact your budget tremendously. And being a new homeowner, you are going to have to adjust to that new budget with paying your mortgage payment every month.
Well, that's a great point. And I think sometimes also, like in our case, the house we bought wasn't necessarily where we wanted to stay. It was our first house. We made great money on it. We took that profit into the next property, and that profit kept our payments down so we could really afford something much nicer because we got in the game. I feel like buying a house is like jumping on an escalator. It's moving. You got to jump on it to get moving in the right direction. So great. I see, Larry, I see your video on. Do you have a question or something that you want to add to our conversation?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, thanks for being on the call today.
Bill, I would ask this just for people, because this is like almost like a new home buyers, and we don't have a mortgage person on here today, but there are special programs for first-time home buyers for lending. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, one more time.
I said, there are special programs for first-time buyers as far as lending goes, rates or interest rates or down payments? There are those sorts of things?
Oh, yes. And of course, some of them are dependent on the area. Some are dependent on your income, depending on your job. There's doctors specials, there's teacher specials, there's first responder special programs, some by county, some by city, but some by state. So when we get to the lender portion, we can talk about some of those special programs that are available. But certainly if you're a doctor, first responder, you should definitely ask. And if you have a particular city you're buying in, we should look and see if there's special down payment assistance or programs in those areas as well. But definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, and just
If
to
you're a
comment
veteran
on
as
that,
well, of course, veterans.
just to comment on that, Charlotte, I did speak to a lender recently, and so there are programs that are a loan program that is geared to not just a teacher, but any employee of a school district. So you don't have to necessarily be a teacher, but just as long as you're an employee, you can be an administrator, custodian, any other position, as long as you're employed by the school district.
Cool.
Yeah, and they vary. I know, and I know USC has a program. If you live in you're buying property in a certain area that they support to help people, and a lot of big employers have also assistance programs for some of the down payment money. So definitely, there's different options, and you want to explore all of them. But they're usually city limited or in certain areas for the most part. And that's we need to get to where you're clear on what you're looking to buy, so we can help you look for those options as well. Sometimes those options work against you. I'll tell you, as a listing agent, when I get an offer and it requires like a silent second from a certain city, I know from experience that takes a long time to process, and that offer may lose out to a competitive offer. The doctor loans, those are golden. VA loans require some salesmanship, and that's where you need the right lender. So, okay. So here's a great question from, I'm not going to say who it is just because it's chat box. Okay. So, but he asked that he had a bankruptcy a few years ago, and he has good money now, and his wife is making good money now, and so they qualify for a loan. And the answer is yes, you qualify for a loan. The question I think you want to ask is, what kind of loan do you qualify for? Do you get the same kind of A-paper loan? And I would say this, generally, yes. Your credit score is going to be important. Your credit history since your bankruptcy will be important. You're going to want to get with Charlotte and Ronan to make sure your credit is up to date, because sometimes I'll tell you, recently I applied for a loan to buy investment property, and we discovered my wife had a collection account from 2017 that we didn't know. Back in 2017, we had a dispute with a doctor, and he went away, but he turned over collection, and out of the blue, it popped up. And so we had to know, now I know what to do. I'm a professional, but if you don't know what to do, you need people to help you. That's what Ronan and Charlotte do. So particularly if you have a bankruptcy, you want your credit since then to be perfect, and you'll need to make sure that when the time comes to apply it. But the answer is 2 years after bankruptcy in today's market, you probably can get an A-paper loan. We'll want to get with the right lender that has all that disclosed, knows upfront what you need, and make sure it happens. So definitely we'll get a chance to work with you down the road. Okay, Gurpreet? Or whoever that is. Okay. Great question. Other questions? You're welcome. Sorry about that little slip there, but hopefully we'll miss that. Any other questions? So anything you want to add before we wrap up here, Charlotte and or Patricia?
Yeah, I'd like to just add for anybody watching, you can get a free annual credit report online, and it's at annualcreditreport.com. And there you can basically request your free credit report, and it'll provide you the rating from the 3 companies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And so that'll give you a good indication of where your FICO's at. And you can choose to have it, you can print it or have it emailed, but you do need to pay attention to the first page when you've logged on, because you only have that opportunity once and then it goes away. After that, I think it just gets mailed to you. So just pay attention to the options when you get onto the website, annualcreditreport.com.
Great. Charlotte, Ronan, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. And I mean, I loved what Bill said, is that try to get qualified, clear up your credit before you start the process. You know, and you can begin to look, obviously, but you want to know that you can get in there and pre-qualify yourself and get into the home. And it is doable. I mean, we've had people who have had 24 negative items removed from their credit reports. We've had people who have had 14 negative items removed from their credit reports. So it's possible. Homeownership is possible. And it's what Bill said, you know, just get yourself focused on it and take one step at a time. That's all that you can really do, is take one step at a time.
Well, I see Alex Oliveris is a lender, and sounds like he has a program for teachers and law enforcement, firefighters, and medical. Alex, I'd say before I promote you on the call, I'd love to meet you and just kind of find out who you are and see, make sure, because I'm always hesitant to introduce somebody that I haven't worked with personally. And so when you have a chance, reach out. I think we met. I think you used to be with Antero. Were you with Antero Real Estate before? You the same, Alex? Anyhow, let's talk. Give me a call. Anybody to call me anytime, 310-210-0008, or text me or catch me on social media at Bill Gross EXP, and I'll be glad to and help if I can. Look, I think we laid down the overview today. Next week, we're going to start with the first section, which is buying for you. We're going to talk about what it's going to take to be successful, and we're going to offer our assistance and help you with that. And then you might get a chance to talk to either Charlotte or Ronan about credit, and or Patricia between now and then, and or a lender partner. So if I can help in any way, reach out to me or reach out to them, and we're here to help you. Guys, thank you so much. I know we have upcoming here Christmas holiday. So for those of you so inclined, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your holiday with your family. For those of you who are not enjoying Christmas, enjoy the day off. And we'll be here next week, even though it is the holiday time. This is a great time for people to get caught up and plan to make next year your best year ever. And we're here to help you. So thank you for being on the call today, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.